All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how Booleans work, and we're going to take a look to see what it means by the true and false. So let's take a look at the objectives here. We are looking at the Boolean. We're going to look at the data type for Boolean. We're going to assign values to a bool, and we're going to display also the results of it. Now, quick refresher over here. We have several Python data types, as you are aware of, and you notice that we have type bool that's over here. So basically, in most programming languages, you would have a value of 0 or a 1. A 0 would simply refer to as off, and 1 would refer to as on. Now, you might have basically taken a look at a couple components here in different technologies where they have on and off switches. So if we basically take a look to see, you have what they call a toggle switch. You notice there's a 1 and a 0 referring to on and off, or maybe a push button that has a combination of a 0 and a 1 kind of integrated in that. So that's referring to the on and off stages. For Python, a 0 value is also going to be referred to as a false value, and then a 1 is going to be a true value. Okay, so when we go through some of these sequences and some code, we're going to basically take a look to see how things actually work here. So the Boolean data type, again, is going to be a type bool. The Boolean value can be either a true or false. Now, pay attention to this. The results of the bool are going to be true or false with the capital T and the capital F. So the results of bool, T or F, uppercase T or lowercase f, or true and false, that cannot happen. That's not how the results work. So in a moment, we're going to basically take a look to see how that works. Again, it's going to be capital T for true and capital F for false. Now, the reason why it's important to understand how to utilize this, because we're going to have various uses of it when we start elaborating a little bit more on the code. We're going to look at more in terms of decision making, loop control, error handling, as well as data validation. Now, as we go through this particular lesson here, as we continue on, we're going to look at relational operators, basically comparing values of less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, or basically not equal to. Logical operators we'll get into as well, which are basically and, or not. Conditional statements, we'll learn that in a couple weeks there, I think maybe even next week, of the if, else, and else if. And then basically loops, and one way to structure a loop is saying while a certain condition is true, then execute this loop until it breaks out and it's false. So evaluating Boolean values yielding in a true or a false. When we have a variable value, so if the value is 0, that's going to result in a false, Boolean value of false. If it's null, blank, meaning nothing, that's also going to generate a false. A non-zero integer, meaning a positive or negative number, that's going to yield a true. And anything that has a string into it, that's also going to yield a true. So now we're going to look at some sample expressions for Boolean. And in this example, I'm going to show you how a variable, well, you know how the variable is created. And then we're going to create the print statements to display the value of the variable. We've done that before. Display the data type of the variable. We've done that. And something new here, we're going to basically display the Boolean value of the variable. So what do we have here? We have variables set from 1 to 4, and we have variables of 0, this is going to be a null value, a value of 99, and dog. And then here below I have 3 print statements. One is to basically identify the value of the variable, so in this case var1. what the data type is, and then look how this is written. We're basically establishing what the Boolean expression is, or Boolean value is, for var1. So when we run the code here, let's compare what's actually going on with the output. Let me zoom in for a bit here. So the value of var1 is going to be 0, so that's going to be this line, which is printing out that particular value. The data type of the variable, should put a little space there. So we have this, so we have the keyword type here, so it's going to identify that this is of class int. And then we have a Boolean variable over here, which is this is being expressed. And you notice that the value was 0, and in the previous slide we identified that if the value is 0 for the variable, it's going to generate a false statement there. Now let's go ahead and basically create additional code for displaying the same information for var 2, 3, and 4. So I updated the code to include displaying the values for var 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then let me make the fix over here. And then let's go ahead and run the code and basically see what the output is going to be. And then as we could see, let me scroll up over here. So for var number 2, all right, the value is, and you notice there's nothing there because we set this value to basically what we refer to as null, simply nothing. So there's nothing that's being displayed there. It's being identified of a class string, and it's also being identified as false. Now we have the for var3 value of 99. So if we basically take a look at this, we have 99 over here. Class is type int, and basically anything that is a non-zero integer is going to display a value of true. And then here we're displaying the var4, which established that it is the value of dog. Again, this one's a class string, and then give us a true value. So again, this is going to be key when we're going to be looking at how comparison works. So in the up and coming sections, we're going to be looking at comparison with relationships, relational operators, as well as logical operators. So you're going to have an up and coming lab, which is going to be lab 4A, a 5-minute code, Boolean expressions, and what you're going to be doing is very similar to what I just shown you. You're going to create some variables. You're going to display the data type of the variable, display the Boolean value of the variable, and then utilizing the f strings for output as well. Continue on in this segment there, complete the learn and code and the questions that are to follow.